Here's the little pouch that we're going to make. It's all made from inner tire tube and those materials that I've showed you. You've got a little button on the front, and you can put whatever you want in it. So you make it the length that you want depending on what you want to put in your little pouch. It could be for a change purse, for your pencils, whatever you decide you want to put in there. And this is an option. You can put something a little cute on the side. Here are the materials that you will need. You will need a pair of scissors, a couple of pieces of inner tire tube, some hand soap, a pen or pencil, one button at least. A few can make it cute. A hole punch, any kind of hole punch will do. You need some paper clips and needle and thread. Okay, so the first step is you're going to take your inner tire tube and you're going to cut along the length of it like I did here. Just finished cutting this to open it up to a flat piece. Now when I open it up, there's this powder inside. That's why I need my soap, because I'm going to go wash that in the sink just with soap and water to take that on. Then you won't get powder all over your things. So here's my piece that I want to wash up with some soap. I just put a bit of soap on there. It doesn't take much rubbing to get it all off. Okay, so now I have my piece that I've washed. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my button right here. I'm going to leave a little bit of space and I'm going to put my button. Then we'll decide how long we want to have this piece depending on what we want to put in it. So I have my needle already threaded, and I'm just going to come behind my piece here. Grab my button. Any kind of button will do. This one has the hole in the back, but it doesn't matter. You want to go about maybe 5 times just to make sure you get your button nice and tight, because that's what's going to keep your little wallet or pouch closed. You just poke through there, you go through your buttonhole, then you come back through here and grab it. I'm going to go one more time. I give it a little tug every time, just make sure my button is nice and tight. And now in the back, I'm just going to go through this and give it a little knot. I'm going to do that a couple of times, make sure it stays tight. I'm going to go through this chunk of knot here. Now I'd like to get this flatter. That's not going to bother me. All right, maybe one more time just to make sure. Okay, then you cut the extra a bit, and you've got your button. Then you want to decide how big your flap's going to be. This is where you need to decide, are you making a little pouch? You can make a little pouch and then just cut the excess. If you want a little change purse, maybe I'll do that this time. This one was a little bit longer. So you decide, but whatever you do, let's say you're putting your pencils in there, you want to leave a little bit of space. See, that wouldn't work. This one is too small to put the pencils in. So you want to decide. So I'm going to make a little one for this. It will be this big. So that's where my button is. I'm going to make a little hole. You don't want your hole too big. It's better smaller, and then you make it bigger if you need it. See, this is a good size for my button. Okay, so I'm going to decide how long I want my flap. And I'm going to come right in there and cut it. I'm going to cut the big part of it just like that. And then you can go and round it off if you want. You can make zigzags. You can make it pointy. You can make it the way you'd like. I think I'd like it rounded. I'm going to round it right up. All right, I'm going to leave it like that for now, and I might make some changes a little bit later. You don't need to get too detailed at the moment. So now I'm going to hold this down with some paper clips, and some that aren't tied. Here we go. Put a few paper clips to hold it in place. Then I can open it up because we're going to close up the sides. So this is where we're going to bring in your hole punch. This is the one I have. And I'm going to make some holes along the length of it like I have here. You want to leave a little bit of space. I'm going to put my paper clip back there to hold it in place so it doesn't move too much. Oops. And I can have room for one last one over here. There we go. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then we're going to tie it up. So now I've got all my holes ready, and I'm ready to stitch it, such as what I did here. I'm just going to do a little whip stitch all the way around. Okay, like this. Now to do that, you're going to grab you had 2 pieces of tube. You're going to grab your other piece of tube, and you're going to cut yourself some strips. You want to cut some nice thin to make a little strip. Okay, now once I hold it here, you want it pretty even, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's a nice, like a spaghetti piece. So with those, you can come in and you can make a little knot at your bottom. get it started. Doesn't need to be too fancy. I double knot it just to make sure it's going to stay. And I kind of like these little bits. If you don't like it, you can tuck it inside over here. When you're done, you can just tuck it in. All right, so now I'm going to whip stitch it. I'm going to come back into this hole. Even if I've made a knot here, I'm going to come back into there to get it started so it holds it properly. I'm just going to come around from the back to the front all the way up. I give it a little tug to keep it nice and snug, but I don't make it too tight because you don't want it to get all scrunched up. Now, if I had a really long pouch, I would keep my little pieces holding it so that it stays in place, but this one's really small, so when I get to the top, I do the same thing, but now I'm going to go another time in there because this time I'm going to make a knot. So I've got my whip stitch in there, but now I'm going to knot it just like a normal knot. Make it nice and tight. And then I'm going to come in a second time, give it one more, so it makes like a double knot. Go in that loop, make it nice and tight. And we're just going to leave this hanging for now. Probably do something with that after. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and then we'll just wrap it up. We'll finish it up. Once I'm all done, then I decide how I want to finish this. Do I want to just tuck everything in, leave it simple? Do I want to add little beads to it? Beads or buttons. In this case, I did buttons. So for this one, I just added a piece. I made a knot there, and I added a button. Made a little knot to hold it in place. Added 2 buttons on this one, and it gives me this. For this one, I think I'm just going to keep these little bits there. Add a little bit to it. You just knot it. Do what you want with it. The only thing with your buttons and beads is that you can't have it. You can't have any with. If it's too small, it won't fit in the hole. So you want to make sure your buttons have the bigger holes. And some of these loops are bigger, so this will fit. A lot of the buttons that you haven't, just for doing crafts, they should have bigger holes. All right, I'm just going to double knot this, and I think that's how I'm going to finish this one. There we go. So I have a cute little money pouch. There you have it, folks. Enjoy, and maybe in your comments below you can post your little pouches. Show me what you did. I'd love to see.